Hello guys, today we're going to be working on this LG dryer. The model number, it's on the display. Welcome to DIY Repair Now. Read all the warnings, and during this video you will see one or more of these icons to help you do this repair safe. The first thing we need to do is be safe and disconnect the dryer or turn it off at the breaker to avoid electric shock. Now this dryer was gifted to our customer along with a washer. The washer was working good, but the dryer was making a squeaking and rattling sound. And that's why in this footage, you already see me working with the dryer already taken apart. However, I'm gonna give you details in how to disassemble the dryer at the end of the video when I put it back together. Now, this is the reason why this dryer was making a squeaking and rattling sound. This wheel was totally worn out, and this wheel has a bearing on the middle, and that bearing was creating the squeaking sound because the bearing was worn out. The bearing came off from the plastic of the wheel. Now to remove the wheel, I'm using a 10mm wrench, and you gotta twist it counterclockwise until it gets completely loose. You can also use a drill with a 10mm drill bit counterclockwise until it comes completely loose. Now for the back, I'm using a 14mm wrench, and you can get this on Amazon. I'm gonna go ahead and put links for these tools in the description of this video. That way you guys can go and buy it right there, and it will arrive to your home if you don't own this wrench. Now I'm using the same tools for the second wheel. They're all the same size. So this is the tools that you're gonna need to remove these bearing wheels, and you can get all these drill bits at Amazon, or you can get them at Home Depot if you like, or Lowe's. Now if you pay attention, this is the brand new wheels that I ordered from Amazon. They're gonna be linked in the description of this video as well. And if you pay attention, as I was saying before, you're gonna be able to see that it comes with everything. You can see the wheel, the washer, and the knot that goes behind it, so you don't have to reuse the old ones. Now over here, I was trying to figure out if the washer goes in the back or on the wheel, but I find out that it goes on the wheel, as you see right there in the footage. In the back, the knot is wide enough so it doesn't need a washer. So put the knot on the wrench, and then go ahead and start twisting the screw with the wheel clockwise. I'm using the drill, but you can use the wrench, or you can use a screwdriver. Now for the final tie, I do hand tie and make sure I put the last torque by hand, because the drill is an impact drill. And if you use another type of drill, be careful, because it can torque so much that you can hurt your hand. Other thing is, go ahead and be careful with sharp edges, because all this metal can cut your hand or your arm. Now I'm doing the same thing. Put the washer on the screw for the wheel, and then twist it clockwise. I'm using the drill with a 10mm drill bit until it's tight, and again do the last torque by hand with the wrench, like so. That's how I know they're installed the right way. Now to be able to get to the other wheels on this side, I'm gonna go ahead and remove this panel. This is part of the exhaust kind of duct. So remove the two Phillips screws on the side and just lift up. Go ahead and remove the filter inside and clean the filter while you're doing all this repair. Just do the maintenance to it. So you can see that's the filter right there. And the same thing, counterclockwise to remove the wheels. And this is the new one. Now that I'm doing this outside, you're gonna be able to see what happens behind, and the knot that goes behind the panels. This will be the back as an example how it works, and the other two wheel that we already done. Put the 14mm ratchet wrench and the drill bit with a 10mm. Doing the same thing. Just make sure you don't start screwing the wrong way, because it can damage your screw or your nut. So I always recommend that it started by hand and then use the drill to save some time. And this is the way I do it. If you need to watch the video more than one time, go ahead and watch it, but just take all the precautions. I don't use gloves because I do this pretty much every day. But when I started working on this craft, I hurt myself a lot. So just trying you guys to be safe. Okay, so we have 14mm on one side and a 10 in the other. I know I'm saying it a lot, but sometimes people ask me if their wheels are different size of screws and nuts. So that's the reason why I do it. And here we go again. You see 4 examples in how to do it, and they're all done the same way. In this one, I have a pretty good view. You can see I'm twisting by hand to start clockwise, and then I use the drill. Last torque always by hand, just to make sure it's completely tight. As you can see, sometimes it goes kind of strong because this nut brings some type of silicone, hard silicone, to prevent from the wheel to come loose. So you will see it once you get the order of new wheels. Again, those wheels gonna be linked in the description of this video, so you can go and buy the kit. It also comes with the bell if you need the bell. Sometimes the bell will not fit, but most of the time when something goes wrong with an appliances, it's going to be very difficult. There's going to have 2 issues. Most likely it's only 1 issue. So if the bell works for you, go ahead and replace it. Otherwise, leave the OEM one. Now over here, I'm installing this exhaust again with a 2 Phillips screwdriver, or with the 2 Phillips screws, I'm sorry. And I noticed that the bell needs to be replaced, so I'm using the new drive bell. So this dryer is fairly new, so it's very hard for me to think that something by uses this dryer got damaged. Now I'm installing the drum. This is how it works. You put the drum on top of the 2 wheels in the back, and this is how you install the dry bell. And also I'm going to show you in the same footage how to install the dry bell again. You see those lines on the dry bell that go on the motor, and the other one goes here. The dry bell has some lines, and those lines goes on the motor, and the flat part of the bell goes on that plastic wheel right there, as you see in this footage. Just follow this video and you will be able to do this repair by yourself. This is the way it is, and I'm going to show you how to remove it when you took it apart. As I told you before, I know I didn't have the footage to take it apart, but I'm going to give you most of the details. Keep in mind that when I start working on it, it was already taken apart. Now I'm over here, I'm checking, make sure the heat element and all the thermostats, high limit thermostat and cutoff thermostats are fine. I should have done that while the dryer was taken apart. And the drum was not in place, but I forgot. So I'm just making sure everything is fine, because the customer wants me to repair this dryer, but she wants it for another property. Well, at this time she says she wants it for another property, so she don't want to install it in this house. So I was making sure everything is right. Now I'm installing this panel, and it goes in 4 hooks. It's 2 hooks on the left and 2 hooks on the right. Don't forget to plug in your humidity sensor harness and install all 4 screws that holds this drum panel. Now over here, like I told you before, I have worked in dryers similar to this, but I work in so many dryers and I didn't took this one apart. So over here in this footage, I'm trying to figure out how these wires are set around these panels. So I'm gonna leave everything in this video. That way, if you run into the same situations, just try to figure it out and follow this video, and this will help you. But again, I'm having a little hard time because I didn't work in this specific model, because this is a newer model that I'm working on today. Taking a job where somebody else already messed with the appliances is a little complicated. Now over here I'm still messing with this wiring, and this is the harness for the light that goes inside the drum, and the other one is for the door switch, and this is how it's attached. So over here you can see that I'm figuring things out. This is how you remove this wire. You need to grab a needle nose and pinch in the other side to release it from this panel. Once you start working on it, you will be able to see how it works. This is an example right there. Just pinch and then it will release that zip tie. So over here, I'm gonna go ahead and install the screws, but this is not the way it is. You're gonna see me taking it off in a few minutes, because the front panel goes before these screws. But again, I'm dealing with the situation because somebody was already working on this dryer. I believe it was the previous owner. When you put this panel back together, make sure you put these hooks in place. It's a male to female connection in each side, one hook on the left, one hook on the right. You will see it once you start working on it, and when you take it apart or put it back together. This is the harness for the wiring that goes on the door, and the wiring for the display panel. This is how you remove it. Press and release. I do it a couple times for you guys. Pressed, and it will release. Remember that the display panel, it's on the door on this model, so keep that in mind. This is what I was telling you guys. Over here I put the screws in place, but I supposed to put this panel and then the screws. Now I'm going to show you the hooks again. I'm just giving you more details. This is how the door goes on. This panel goes on the hooks, and right now I'm gonna go ahead and remove the two Phillips screws. They are already installed on the top, because the front panel goes first, and I'm gonna go ahead and install the screws here. Now keep in mind, guys, that this dryer was already taken apart, and probably you will have to remove more screws than I am. Now to install this harness, go ahead and hold the other part with your left hand, with your thumb, as you see, because this switch can break very easy. If it breaks, there's gonna be a link in the description of this video. They are not expensive, so if something goes wrong, you can find that door switch as well there. But try to go ahead and hold it in place. Now I can use the two Phillips screws and install the two Phillips screws on the top, like so. And now I'm doing the one on the right, and that's how it holds this part off the panel. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and install the screws here on the top and the front. When you remove these screws, try to put it somewhere where you can remember where they go. Try to record with your phone or with a camera, because these screws might be different than the rest of the screws. So just keep that in mind, because that can be a little tricky for you. Now the screws that you see me working on right now, they might be covered by that sticker, so you will have to remove that part of the sticker to be able to get to those screws. Now I'm installing the screws over here on the top. As you can see, I'm having a little trouble trying to find out what screws goes where, because I didn't took this dryer apart, somebody else did. And as I was saying before, maybe it was the previous owner that tried to do the repair herself and quit the repair and give it to our customer. So now when you install those screws, keep in mind that you have to release these two tabs if you're only removing the front part of it. But I just decided to remove the whole thing because I gotta get to that area. Now I'm going to go ahead and put original audio from the date of the repair. That way I give you a little bit more details. So here it is. You have to remove this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one for this cover to come right off. Then you got to remove the wire for the door switch and the wire for the harness for this board, which is right here. Then to remove this top panel, just remove this one and two they has right here and right here around inside, and this cover will come right off. Now whoever disassembled this dryer didn't know that these blocks not supposed to be removed. These blocks goes in the top panel, and now I'm here having a hard time trying to figure things out because they don't know what they were doing. Now this is the top panel, and while I'm here I'm going to show you there's a male to female connections right here. You see this white tip right there, it goes to a hole right there, and then it will be slide towards you, towards the front, to be able to fit in place. Now let me show you. Once you put it inside the hole, you put it towards you, and then it will, you know, fall in place, and then that way in the front is secure and on the sides is secure. Now as you can see, I'm trying to figure things out still with this panel. This panel was not supposed to be removed as well, and the only reason why I'm leaving this footage and this video is because if somebody runs in the same situation where a customer or somebody took this dryer apart the wrong way, this video will be able to help them out. Over here I figured out how it's supposed to be, and then it's supposed to have 3 screws on the top, which again they're not supposed to be removed, because once you remove the top panel, these blocks have to stay with the top panel. But it is what it is. I'm dealing with the situation. I accept this repair. Most of the time I will not take a repair like this because it's very complicated, especially if somebody else already took the paperwork out and already have taken the appliance apart the wrong way. So don't blame me if you see me using just some screws, because there were screws missing, there was little parts missing, there were things that were not supposed to be removed. So I'm just dealing with the situation, and the customer knows. Well, long story short, I came back like about a month after or a couple days after to work on the dishwasher, and the customer decided to keep this dryer because it was working better than the one she has, and she used hers for her rental property. So up to this day we never received any callbacks or anything, so everything was done properly and it worked fine. But again, I believe this dryer was being overloaded, or it was not level when they installed it for those bearings to go bad so soon, because this dryer is fairly new. Now I'm just installing the last covers. This cover was supposed to be removed, but not, you know, like this cover was not supposed to be removed. Somebody removed it for no reason, and you get the idea of what I'm trying to say. If you're a technician, you run into this situation a lot. All right, guys, if this video helped you in any way, you can show us appreciation by giving us a tip using the following options that you see on the screen. If you cannot provide with a tip, is another way to support this channel by just dropping off a comment in the comment section down below. Subscribe to our channel, give us a thumbs up, and turn on the bell to receive notifications. Thanks for watching.